In this week's episode, we're going to discuss something that I see far too often, and that is people putting a Band-Aid on their retirement plan instead of fixing it permanently. It can lead to disastrous results, as I've seen and we'll discuss. Let's figure out what we can do to make sure you don't put a Band-Aid on your retirement, that we fix it permanently. Let's roll.
Welcome to the Safe Money Retirement Show with your host, certified financial fiduciary, Tim Wood. Tim is a retirement and income planning expert, best-selling author of Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success, member of the exclusive Ed Slott Master Elite IRA Advisor Group, and founder of SafeMoneyRetirement.com. Tim uses an education-first approach with clients nationwide to ensure they understand their choices in planning their own safe money retirement. Tim focuses on wealth management, retirement income, tax and long-term care planning, and asset protection and growth strategies. And now, from the Safe Money Retirement Studio in Johnson City, Tennessee, your host, Tim Wood.
So what do I mean by having a Band-Aid type of retirement? What am I talking about? There are so many people that come to see me that have had this issue or that issue or whatever, and they've literally almost tried to use a Band-Aid to fix it, hoping that it would take care of the problem. Well, it may for the very short term, but keep in mind, retirement isn't a short-term game. This isn't something that we're only planning for the next year or even 5 years. We're planning for 20, 30, 40 years maybe with medical advancements. So what do we need to do to make sure you don't have a Band-Aid type of retirement? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, do you already have your copy of Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success? If not, why not? We will send you a copy absolutely free with no charge and no obligation, so you can make a plan that works specifically for your situation. In this book, you're going to learn what options there really are and what you can do to help yourself plan your own safe money retirement. Give us a call right now. We'll send you a copy absolutely free. It's 800-913-SAFE. That's 800-913-7233, or just log right onto our website at safemoneyretirement.com and register for your book there. So let me dive into what I'm talking about here with a Band-Aid retirement. I have clients come to me quite often that, for example, I'm just going to use a couple of real life examples to explain what I'm talking about. I have clients come to me that say, well, I was taking out the 4% that we're, supposed to take out from William Bengen's study back in the 1980s. Not necessarily a good number now, I've got other episodes about that. That's not what I'm going to talk about. But let's say someone's come in and they've been doing that, but then the money either starts dwindling or they need more, or, because of losses, they don't feel like they're getting enough, whatever, and they're putting Band-Aids. They're taking, well, let me just take some extra money from our savings, or let me just take some extra money out of that 403B that I've got, or whatever. They put Band-Aids on, and before long, if you can kind of visualize a wall holding back water, you can put Band-Aids on for a minute, but sooner or later, the water's going to come through. You need to have a permanent answer. You need to have a real income solution, not just throw Band-Aids up there. Same thing with growth plans. People say, oh, I'm going to stay in the market. That's great. Stay in the market. But then a market correction happens. Then they think, okay, well, that's not a problem. I'll be able to come back. But what people forget is that pesky market math you've heard me talk about before. You lose 30%, you need between 42 and 43% to get back to where you were. So they're putting Band-Aids on things that need a permanent fix. Same thing with long-term care. Some people come in and they've had a long-term care policy for years and years, and now they're in their 60s or 70s, and their payments on that long-term care policy are so expensive, they can't keep making the payments. So now they have no long-term care coverage because they had to cancel it. They have no long-term care coverage. We need to make sure you've got rock solid plans. You're not using a Band-Aid. You're doing things to fix the problem permanently. So let's take just a moment and talk about each of the main problems that Safe Money Retirement, my firm, helps people with. Number one, income. That is absolutely what brings you happiness in retirement. Y'all have heard me say that before. Having enough guaranteed income in retirement is one of the most important things that you can have. I'm not the only expert that says that. Listen around. Income is where it's at in retirement. And putting Band-Aids on your income plan by just, well, let's only take out maybe what it makes this year. Well, what happens if it doesn't make any? What happens if it's in an at-risk account and it goes down by 30%? You need to have a plan. Just hoping that we're going to have enough is not a plan. That is not a plan. I see it all the time. Well, I sure hope we have enough. We're only taking out what we really need and da-da-da-da-da. But, we've been doing that for 5 years and now our account has gone from 350,000 down to 210. And if we keep doing this, we're going to run out of money. Yeah, you will. You need to have a rock solid plan. So let's get a rock solid plan in place for your income. That's step number one. That's what I work with every single client on. Now, some clients come in and they've already got their income covered. Great, hallelujah. We don't have to do anything, but we make sure we look. What are you going to get, or what are you getting from Social Security? What are your expenses? What are any other expenses that might be coming up? Like, you're going to need a roof in the house. You're going to need something for the car or a new car, or you might be moving or whatever. I mean, there's different things. Let's make a plan for your income. Let's make sure you've got a guaranteed income plan so you know that you're not going to underlive or overlive your retirement. We don't want either. We want that happy medium where you're doing everything that you can, but you're not going to outlive your money, but you're not doing so little and contracted over here that you're not doing things you could be doing. Okay? So that's your income. With growth, what I tell people, especially when you're in retirement, now when someone's younger, they've got more time horizon. They've got more time that, if there's a major market crash and you're 35, fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it is, because you've really got, 20, 30 years before you're even thinking about retirement, and the market's going to come back. Well, it always does. We know that. Again, that pesky market math, if it goes down by 50%, you've got to have 100% gain just to get back to even. But that is what it is. But when you get close to retirement, or you're thinking about retirement, or even if you're younger and there are stacks of money that you want to make sure you don't lose that's going to be there for retirement, getting into a plan that gives you really good growth with no chances of losses and no fees and still some liquidity, most of them give you between 5 and 10% liquidity, is brilliant. That's a plan. Just hoping you don't run out of money is not a plan. That's a Band-Aid. That's, oh, well, I don't have enough this year, so let's pull some from over here. And next year, okay, well, next year, actually, we did pretty good, so we can take a little more here. That's putting Band-Aids on situations. That's what you want to avoid. You also want to avoid that same thing when you're looking at legacy. When you're looking at what you're going to be leaving to people when you're gone, make a plan for it. How do you want it to go? Do you want all of the money that goes to your inheritance, the beneficiaries that get your inheritance? Do you want all of that money to be still pre-tax? So now they've got to pay taxes on it. And with the new Secure Act, they've got to pay taxes on it within 10 years. Do you want that? Well, it depends on how much it is. If it's not a lot, it might not have much consequence. If it's a lot of money, it could kick your beneficiaries up tax brackets, and that goes all the way back to $1. Need to think about these things. Need to get with someone and make a plan. So for everything, so just to sum this up, don't have a Band-Aid retirement. Doesn't mean you have to talk to me. You absolutely do not. But you need an independent, certified financial fiduciary, preferably that's a member of Ed Slott's Master Elite IRA Advisor Group, so that person knows everything about all of the law changes, all the rules, all the tax laws, all that stuff. Get with someone like that. Figure out what your plan is, rock solid, concrete plan, and stop putting Band-Aids on your retirement. Make sure you've got a solid plan. That's how you can get a safe money retirement.
We all know that friend who's retired and still has to work. The one we've said we won't end up like, working till we die. But are you sure you're prepared? Hi, it's Glenn Beck, and I want to introduce you to Tim Wood. He is the owner of Safe Money Retirement. He's a certified financial fiduciary, and he makes sure that his clients aren't going to be that guy. Tim can help you know you'll have enough guaranteed income to cover you and your spouse for as long as either of you live and protect your money from the next market crash while it grows. Tim's helped hundreds of families know that they have a plan they can count on. You know I don't just trust anyone. Do your own homework with Tim Wood. Go to safemoneyretirement.com/Beck or call Tim. See how Tim can help protect what you've worked so hard for all those years. A safe retirement. Go to safemoneyretirement.com/Beck or call Tim and protect your money from the next market crash while it grows.
In today's case file, we're going to look at the story of Joe. Now, Joe was a single man, had made a lot of money in his life. He was divorced. He had been married before, but he was single now, had made a lot of money in his life. And he actually came to see me earlier this year. It's 2025. So early in 2025, first quarter, there was a lot of market volatility at that point, as y'all will remember, and he had lost a lot. He had lost well into the 5 digits, close to $50,000 he had lost. And he came in almost in a panic. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I've still got all this money, but I'm losing this, and it just keeps going down every day. And with this and that and everything going on politically and geopolitically and everything else, he literally was. He was one of those type of, individuals. He was just kind of going off the deep end. So what I did was I sat him down and explained, I know that you're wanting good growth. Absolutely. I totally get it. There are growth plans out there that allow you to get market-like returns with no risk. They totally get rid of all of the investment risk. How do they do that? These are fixed indexed annuity products. That's what we got him into, and that's what you hear me talk about all the time. He moved his money. This was in an IRA with a major, huge brokerage company, had lost a lot, moved that into a safe fixed indexed annuity with a top-rated company that I work with all of the time that allows him to do what's called reallocation every year. Y'all have heard me talk about this, and if you've read my book, you've read about it in my book. There are plans out there that every year you can decide how you want your money to grow. Do you want it to grow based on a fixed rate? Do you want it to grow based on what the S&P 500 does? There are a lot of other indexes you can choose from, and you can move that money around and do whatever you want every single year. That's what we did for him. We got his money out of the market so he doesn't ever have to worry about losses again, no matter what happens in the market. His absolute worst case scenario is zero growth that year. No negatives. There's no negatives possible. Zero growth that year is his absolute worst case possible, but he still has a huge upside. I've had clients in these type of plans that have made double digits in gains in a single year in these plans with no fees and no chances of losses. I can prove that to you. I can show you numbers. You can see for yourself. But you need to understand he was at a dark place when he came in. He was at a very dark place and really freaking out. But by the time we were done, he understood that he can still have the same type of gains. He might be giving up a little bit of the top end, but he's completely getting rid of the bottom end and never having to worry about losses ever again. And that his account is never going to be lower than it is right now unless he takes money out of it. That's what he left with. I'm going to have a good chance for returns. I'm never going to lose another penny the rest of my life. In the plan I got him into, I've got access to 10% of it every single year. Got access to all of it if I ever get in a long-term care or a terminal illness situation. So many different benefits. He left feeling absolutely just almost ecstatic. And you could just, when he came in, he was all like this. By the time he left, he was talking slower and calm. We got him on track, got him to where he can enjoy his retirement. And now he's not living on every single thing that he sees on the news because his retirement is taken care of. Now, how can this relate to you? How this can relate to you is you may very well be in the same situation. You may have all your money. Now, whether the market has gone up in the last 2 weeks or down in the last 2 weeks, look bigger term. There are a lot of people out there that say there's a major market correction coming this year or next. Okay, well, that could happen. Or the market could take off again. or it could stay right where it is again. The thing you've got to figure out for yourself is how much of your money do you absolutely 100% have to have no matter what happens. Whatever that amount is, that's what you need to have in a safe money retirement product that you don't have to worry about any losses no matter what happens in the market. That's it. So let's just say, for example, just to use round numbers, let's say you've got $1 million in retirement savings. And we sit down and we figure out, well, you need $500,000 to make sure that you're good for the rest of your life. Okay, great. We use that $500,000 and we get you in plans that make you good for the rest of your life. The other $500,000 is what I typically call play money. Now, you may still want to take some more of that $500,000 and put it into something that you don't have to worry about losses just because people want to lose the stress in retirement. But you don't have to. If you want to keep playing with that $500,000 and you might hit the next penny stock and turn that $500,000 into $5 million, go get them. But you know you've got over here what you've got to have in case that penny stock doesn't pay off, in case there's a major market event, in case. Make sure you've got enough for you and your family when you are in retirement to last you as long as you're going to live. Don't just make a plan to 80. Don't just make a plan to 90. Make sure your plan can last as long as you live and make sure that it's going to do what you need it to do. So how this relates to you is if you're in a plan, you're worried about the market or you've lost a lot or it's just keeping you up at night, you're stressed out, let's sit down and chat. Let's look at a plan for you. Let's see what could be a good direction for you to go in. It may be an income plan. It may be a growth plan. It may be something for long-term care because everyone in your family has needed that and you don't have anything. Well, let's make a plan. It could be making sure you're leaving what you want to leave when you're gone. Let's make a plan. Get with me. Get a copy of my book. Let's make a plan for you. Well, I'm about out of time, and I would like to thank you for listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show. If you're serious about your financial future, give me a call and together we'll get your retirement savings on the fast track to accumulate while reducing exposure to market loss. Thanks for listening, and until next time at the same time, I'm Tim Wood reminding you to stay safe so you can step into a secure future.
You've been listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show with your host, Tim Wood. Find out how to contractually guarantee that your income in retirement is guaranteed lifetime income and not if-come. Avoid any future market losses, plan for the potential of long-term care, and make wise planning choices so you can have the retirement that you deserve. Call us now for your free copy of Tim's best-selling book, Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success. Our toll-free number is 800-913-SAFE. That's 800-913-7233. Or log on to our site at safemoneyretirement.com for more information or to request your free book. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you online at safemoneyretirement.com. The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Obviously, by contacting us now, you are only taking the first step toward protecting your retirement. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified licensed insurance professional. It's important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Interest and other guarantees in annuity contracts are subject to the claims-paying ability of the insurance carrier that issued the contract. The tax consequences of annuity income should be considered with the help of a licensed tax professional. Rates and returns mentioned on this program may vary based on state availability and are subject to change without notice.